and another effective one. Matthew breaks a tackle, breaks another, gets a block. There are no flags and the race is on. And Matthew goes 90.
Burrow with the snap. Here comes the blitz. Burrow steps away from it, throws, catch made! Justin Jefferson has it at the 38, racing down the far line, sideline, 10-5, touchdown Tigers!
Another play fake by Burrow, and a deep strike, and an open receiver, Jamar Chase, another touchdown!
Daniels pulls it, takes it himself, he's got the sideline! Jane Daniels off to the races! And a bang back inside, he takes it to the house! 85 yards for Daniel!
Go ahead and say it, Ed.
Go Tigers!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another edition of the Gold Standard Podcast. I am your host, Doe. If this is your first time listening, we want this to be your number one place for LSU news, updates, and unsolicited comments from your boy. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you smash that like button. Jump down in those comments and let me know your thoughts about this weekend in LSU sports. We're going to talk about the women's basketball team. Is there a ceiling for Kim Mulkey and her program? And we're going to talk about the Tigers' pesky 3-game sweep over Milwaukee in baseball this weekend. All right. So before we get going on down there, like, look, make sure you look down there and make sure you subscribe, because there are a lot of you that watch this channel, a lot of you that join in and, check out the videos, and you're not subscribed. There's no financial obligations or anything other than you just helping support a nice channel that you like the videos on. So do me a favor and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming episodes here at the Gold Standard Podcast, where we love purple, but it is all gold, baby. Let's go. So the big game, and we talked about it previously earlier in the week, the big game was going to be on. Happy belated Valentine's Day to everybody. Hope you had a nice time with your significant other, made them feel special, but don't wait till Valentine's Day to let somebody know how you feel about them or make them feel special. You do it every day, all right? So Valentine's Day should just be another day on the calendar for you, all right? But we did watch the Lady Tigers fall to the South Carolina Gamecocks and Coach Dawn Staley of a score of 79-72. The PMAC was jumping. I think they said it was the first time that ABC had, broadcast and was on site for a women's college basketball game. So the hype was there. The buildup was there. I don't even want to say rivalry. People say rivalry, but Mulkey hasn't beaten Dawn Staley since she's been at LSU, and LSU's lost 17 or 18 straight to South Carolina. So it's not a rivalry in my books. I don't even know where to start here. Let's just say LSU had all the chances in the world to win this game. And like what happens so often when they play South Carolina makes the plays. They make the plays that they need to make to win the game. LSU jumped out to a 21-16 lead in the first quarter, and then every quarter after that, South Carolina outscored them 25-19 in the second, 19-15 in the third, and 19-17 in the fourth. So there were chances where LSU was up. LSU had the momentum, and it's the mental lapses. I'm not going to question and say basketball IQ, but just like not making the smart plays, not making the best plays when they need to be made. And I asked myself this yesterday. If I was outside, I was washing cars and just kind of thinking, I was like, the LSU team, maybe give or take here, but I question myself, well, like, do the girls feel valuable if they're not scoring points? Like, so many of our players, they live and die by scoring. And what I mean is, if they're scoring, if they're hitting their shots, they're having a great game. And if they're not, they're having a terrible game. And in basketball, sure, the name of the game is points, but you have to have another way that you can contribute to the game. If Jason Kidd can't score 30, he can give you 11 assists. If, Dikembe Mutombo can't score 20 points, he can give you 18 rebounds and 5 blocks. Like, I look at a lot of our players, and I don't know if it's a players thing or a coaching thing or a scheme thing, but it's just like we don't have an alternate. Like, if my shot ain't on tonight, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lock down on the other side. I'm gonna get 8 or 9 assists. I'm gonna get 8 or 9 rebounds. Like, I don't really have that feeling. It's just like we're either having a good game because we scored 10 points, or we're having a bad game because we didn't score 10 points. And that's a very interesting concept, because I think in this game, I mean, basketball is a team game, obviously, of course. So you got to be able to affect the game in more ways than just how many points you can put on the board, because some nights just won't be your night. It's just how basketball works. Jordan didn't have 50 every night. Kobe didn't have 81 every night, but they also found other ways to affect the game, and they were high level effectors of the game in other facets, where it was some games I need to be a point guard and get 10 assists when my shot isn't working. Some games I need to lock down the other team's best player, even though I don't have but 3 points because my shot isn't on. But I'm going to let the best player on the other side, they're going to score 4 points. So now they only have one more point than me. Or I'm going to go box my butt off and get 10 rebounds because my shot isn't on. Or I'm going to go get 5 steals because my shot isn't on. And I think so much of the game for the Lady Tigers is just predicated on how well are we scoring. And when you aren't scoring well, there's not a lot else for a lot of the players to kind of pivot to in order to affect the game. Just my thoughts. I'll be interested on what you guys think about that. But let's take a look at the game stats and the box score here, and then I'll get into some further thoughts. Uh, LSU and South Carolina both had 28 field goals. South Carolina shot 42.4% from the field. LSU shot 40% from the field. South Carolina hit 8 threes, and LSU hit 2. South Carolina shot 47.1 from the 3. LSU shot 16.7%. Free throws, South Carolina 15, and they shot 88%. LSU 14 free throws, and they shot 60%. Rebounds, LSU out rebounded South Carolina 39-33. Assist, LSU out assisted South Carolina 12-11. Steals, South Carolina beat LSU 7-5. Blocks, South Carolina 6-4. Turnovers, both had 9, and then personal fouls, South Carolina had 20 fouls to LSU's 14 fouls. And if we go deeper in the box score, South Carolina had Joyce Edwards, who had 10 points. She shot 4 of 11, so she didn't have a great game, but 2 of 2 from the free throw line and 10 points. Medina Okot, who was all over the board, she went 4 of 10 for 12 points, but she went 4 for 4 from the free throw line and 17 rebounds. Tessa Johnson, who was just a star of the game, 37 minutes, 8 of 13 from field goals, 4 of 5 from 3-point, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, and 21 points. Raven Johnson, who was the other star of the game for South Carolina, 36 minutes, 4 of 9, 3 of 5 from 3-point, 8 of 10 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 19 points. LSU did a good job on Tanaya Latson, who was only 4 of 10 and scored 8 points, but you got basically 2 players in Raven Johnson and Tessa Thompson at 20, and then Joyce Edwards, who's the best player on the team, only scored 10, but Medina Okot, 12 points and 17 rebounds. While on LSU side, we only had Flage, who was 9 of 18, 1 of 3 from 3-point, 2 of 6 from the free throw line, 21 points, 8 rebounds. Pretty good game from Flage. Michaela Williams was not a great game, 5 of 12, 11 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Amaya Joyner did have 8 points and 13 rebounds. And Jada Richard, who's probably my favorite player on this team, but she's in a really, really bad funk. 1 of 10, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 points. Zakiya Johnson, who didn't play as much as I thought she should have played, 3 of 6, 3 rebounds, 7 points. You needed her energy, her toughness, her grittiness, I feel like, on the floor. Malaysia Fawali, I was talking to my dad about this one. She is what she is. She's a streaky player. She's not necessarily a player who has the best game. She's very, very quick. She's very fast. So if she's not getting to the hole and she's missing a lot of layups, what else does she have? She doesn't have the greatest jump shot. She's not a great 3-point shooter. You know, she can create at times, but a lot of times she is very erratic, kind of moving. Her feet are moving faster than her brain is, or vice versa. So it kind of gets a little wacky at times. But 6 points, you know, 0 of 3 from 3 point, 1 of 8 from the field. It just ain't gonna cut it. And then Grace Knox, who I thought should have played more, only 16 minutes, 4 points, 4 rebounds. You got to play Grace Knox more. You got to play Zakiya Johnson more. You got to play Bella Hines more. I like Bella Hines. Bella Hines, and there's the famous during the game where Tessa Johnson is going off and Kim Mulkey's on the sideline yelling, "Who's going to guard Tessa Johnson?" And Bella Hines is literally the only one raising her hand. And I'm saying, Flage, what are you doing? Jada Richard, what are you doing? Michaela Williams, what are you doing? My Laser for Wiley, what are you doing? These are all upperclassmen with much more experience than somebody like Bella Hines, but she's got the grit and the tenacity to say, you know what, coach, I'll try. I'll give it a go. And she actually played well on Tessa Johnson in the second half until they took her out of the game. And then here we go, Tessa Johnson starting to pick up again. So I question some of the rotations with Coach Mulkey at times. I question the offensive flow. I question the offensive scheme. But she's 0-6 or 0-5 or whatever against. She hadn't beat Don Staley since she's been at LSU. And that's the proverbial monkey on Coach Mulkey's back. That they got to get something figured out on being able to make these big time plays in these big time games. And if you look at a lot of their losses, it comes down to the simple things, missing shots, missing free throws, not boxing out on rebound, wide open defenders. And look, basketball usually does come down to those little things, but you can't get beat on the little things. If somebody beats you because they just make an amazing play and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you just tip your cap to that person that night. Good job, whoever it may be. But a lot of times in these games, LSU's getting beat because they can't do the small things good. They can't take care of the ball. There are times in the games where they don't have this point guard on the floor that know how to control the rhythm and the flow of the game. So if we're struggling, Jada Richard and Maya Laser for a while, if we're 0 for 4 in our last 4 possessions and we get the inbound and we're running 100 miles down the floor trying to get into some quasi-fast break and we throw up this bad shot because we got ourselves caught in a rhythm where we can't, it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Nobody's coming getting the ball. Okay, I'm just going to shoot a shot. That happens a lot. Like at some point we got to say, hey, I'm not in the game right now for whatever reason. My shot isn't falling. I don't mean you take yourself out of the game, but it's like, let's slow it down. Let's draw up a good play, whatever our best play is, whatever our go-to getter is, whether it's a pin down when Michaela Williams coming around and getting that jump shot at the free throw line. Didn't see any of that, whether it's Kate Koval down in the paint. What do you want to do? Is pick and roll with Flage, whatever. We're not slowing the pace down. LSU's a great fast break team. They are. They're the best one in the country. But you're not going to fast break beat South Carolina. It's just not going to happen because they're just as talented, if not more talented than you are. And a lot of times LSU can kind of overwhelm the other teams with the amount of talent when you got the fast break going and you got Malaysia doing the layups. You got Flage doing the layups. You got Michaela Williams who shot his own. You got Jada Richard hitting her shots. Yeah, it's going to be overwhelming at that point. But what happens when that isn't working? Like, what's the pivot when the fast break offense isn't there? Can we run a half-court offense? And that's been a question for me since Mulkey's been here. It's very, 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 I'm not going to say frustrating, but you want to beat South Carolina one of these years. And with this being one of Mulkey's deepest teams, you think this is the year or this is the type of year where we can pull something like that off. But, I'm looking at Kate Koval, who was a huge, huge piece for Mulkey, who she was basically beat down the door to go and get. She got 6 minutes in this game and 2 points, 1 rebound. She's 6'5". She's 6'5". I already talked about how Bella Hines should have played more than 6 minutes. Grace Knox, the number 7 player in the country, she played 16 minutes, and she was effective. She had 4 points. She had 4 rebounds. There's an awesome play in the game where they ran the pick and roll on her, and she was able to come and stop, help on the pick, and then got back on a roller and got a steal. Like, she's got the feet and the athleticism to be on the floor in this type of game against South Carolina. I question if Amaya Joyner has that. She's tough. She's a big body for sure. But I feel like Grace Knox she should be the one in this type of game against South Carolina. More Zakiga Johnson, that grit, that tenacity, that fire. She reminds me a lot of Anissa Morrow. She's not as good as Anissa right now. Or, I think Anissa's a little bit bigger, a little taller, but just that grit and fight. It's not like I'm the best, sauciest player on the floor, but I've got the heart, I've got the grit. She should have played more. Like, I need to see less minutes from Amaya Joyner in this game, less minutes from Jada Richard in this game. She just wasn't effective at 1 and 10. Even less minutes from Malaysia Fawali, who was 1 of 8. Your 2-point guards, Jada Richard and Malaysia Fawali, 2 of 18 from the floor. You can't win when your point guards are going 2 of 18 from the floor. It's just not going to work. Michaela Williams. My beef about Michaela Williams and Flage, and I was talking to my wife about this. We fell in love with them as they were pieces of the big pie, right? So back when it was Angel and it was Anissa and it was Haley Van Lith and it was Flage and it was Michaela, Flage and Michaela could pick their spots where they could show up because every night you knew what you were going to get from Angel and you knew what you were going to get from Anissa. You were going to get 20 and 10 basically from those two every night. So I could pick my spots and come in and give you a 15 burger or a 20 burger. And then the next game I have 8. And that's okay because I've got Angel Reese and I've got Anissa Morrow basically guaranteeing me 35 to 40 points between the two of them and 25 to 30 rebounds between the two of them. It just makes things so much easier. So I question and ask, did we put too much into the games that we did see from Flage and Michaela during the time period when they weren't called upon to be the best players on the floor? Because we've seen, we've got a couple years of this now where, last year and this year where Flage and Michaela, when the ball's put in their court to kind of be the man or the woman in this sense, they're not consistently able to show up. And again, when I say consistently, I don't necessarily mean 20 points every night, but there should be a baseline of what we can get a very good game out of Michaela Williams and a very good game out of Flage. And it doesn't mean 20 points every night, but it can't be 20 points tonight and then 8 points tomorrow night. And then the other game, it's 4 points. And then like Flage had one game where she scored no points. Like, they're both so inconsistent that neither one of them really can be depended on to be the star because they're so inconsistent. There are times when Flage looks like the best player on the floor the other night, and then there's other times where she just looks like she's out of it. Like she's out of it, and she make mental errors and mental mistakes and not necessarily locked in. And then Michaela Williams can get out there and look like she's the second coming of Kevin Durant, whoever this mid-range assassin where she could just get her shot off anytime, anywhere. But then you see games like, is that Texas or Rory Harmon. She's too small for you, Michaela. There's no way she should be able to guard you. And I think teams have learned to where if you get somebody smaller that can get up in Michaela, it gives her trouble. So depending on one of them or both of them to be kind of the lead dogs in this fight, they're both just so inconsistent that it's hard to depend on from a coaching standpoint. So I don't know what you do to fix it. Like I said earlier in the season, you miss some of that dog from Anissa. Anissa Morrow was a dog. Angel Reese was a dog. Whatever you think about her, they were dogs on the floor. As women, they just had this toughness. I don't know if it's because Angel's from Baltimore, Anissa's from Chicago. Those are two tough, gritty places that, if you're from there, people from there, it's just different. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm not going to say that or what I was going to think to say, but I don't want to be disrespectful. But obviously, who's the dog on the floor? Who's the dog on the floor? That's what I ask. Who's the dog that says, when we're having a tough spot, everybody get back. Let me get this. I got this. Or who's the dog to step up and say, Tessa Johnson, it's over. It's over with. It's done. You've scored your 15 or whatever points, but this is done and it's over and it's done now. Like who's that on the floor? Is it Michaela Williams? Some games, is it Flage? Some games, is it Malaysia? A few games. But who's going to be that every night? Who's that force? And that's why I fall back on Mulkey, where I see some of that in Zakiya Johnson. I see some of that in Grace Knox. I see some of that in Bella Hines. So you got to lean on these freshmen more. And I'm sorry, I just don't like the excuse of coaches just leaning on players because of their classification. Because we've seen a lot of great players, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant. We've seen a lot of great freshman players. We've seen a lot of great freshmen in women's basketball that are awesome. Juju Watkins was the truth as a freshman. Hannah Hidalgo, you got these players that are just beast as a freshman, and it doesn't matter that they haven't played as long as somebody else, but you got to get the best players on the floor in the best situations. You got to have Grace Knox on the floor. She's the best big you have overall. She's got to be on the floor. She can pick and pop. She can dunk it. She can move. She's got quick feet. She's got athleticism, but she's a freshman. So what? Bella Hines is your best shooter, bar none. Nobody on the team can shoot as half as good as Bella Knox can. Bella Hines. But she's a freshman. So what? She's your best shooter. Put her on the floor and put her in a spot to be successful. Run pin downs, run screens, run the Steph Curry, Klay Thompson offense to get her open and get her 5 to 10 threes a game. She's that deadly. She can hit them. I know she shot an air ball the other night, but I think she's just so adrenaline up that she shot it over the goal. If you watch the games, you watch Bella in high school, she's a shooter. Dang on nose itching. So yeah, it's frustrating for sure. And then you have to question yourself on now what is the ceiling for this team? Coming into the season, I thought Elite Eight should have been the at bar minimum. But if you run into South Carolina because you got a low seed, it's got to be somewhat in your head at this point. Until you beat South Carolina, I don't know how you go into the game and think you can beat them. You can make up all the excuses on, yeah, we were here. Yeah, we were close. We could have beat them. We should have, could have, would have. We could have had them. But they always beat you. They just always do. They always find a way. And shout out, because I don't want to make excuses, shout out to Dawn Staley and her squad. Shout out to Raven Johnson and Tessa Johnson. Okot, shout out to those players. They're tough. They made the plays when they needed to be made. LSU didn't make them. It was simple as that. But that's where I come back on who's going to make these plays, when they're going to make them. Is it going to be once in a blue moon? Is it going to be consistent where we can depend on it going into March? Because right now, with the last few losses that we've had, LSU's 8-4 in the SEC, 8-4 in the conference. What does that put you in the conference? 4th, 5th best team in the conference, just based on the record? So they've got to get it figured out. I don't know what Mulkey and her staff have to do, but they've got to get that figured out. They've got to get the monkey off the back against South Carolina. They have to play smarter. She's got to be better in her rotations. They have to come up with a better offensive scheme to be able to get them out of a rut. When they're in a rut, they go in a rut. LSU will go 7 minutes without scoring a point, and nobody can get us out of it. We can't run easy offense to get an easy basket to get us in the flow. It's mind-boggling, really. It's mind-boggling. I'm not a coach. I'm not on the floor. I'm just watching with my educated fan eyes and just talking about what I see. So, where do they go from here? I know they got a few games left in the season before the SEC tournament starts, but we'll see if they can improve. We'll see if they can change my opinion or change my thoughts going into the tournament. But I think right now, and it was a good game. It was a very good game, but to get where you want to get over the top, to get that push, to get, to running back and get another championship, they've got to be better. Your best players have got to be better. Flage, Michaela, Malaysia Fawali, you have to be better. You have to be better consistently. Flage had a really good game the other night, and we didn't even talk about it, she missed 2 critical free throws down the stretch. 2 critical free throws. It's the little things, the simple things. LSU lost the game because they shot 16% from 3-point, while South Carolina shot 47%. And then they shot 60% from the free throw line, while South Carolina shot 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88%. 88% Was it nerves? Is it butterflies? I don't know, but you're not going to beat many teams, especially ones that are as good as South Carolina, if you shoot 40% from the field, 16% from 3-point, and 60% from the free throw line. It just makes it really tough to win a game like that. Excuse me here. My allergies are acting up, guys, so I apologize. So, yeah, let's talk about men's college baseball. Jay Johnson and his Tigers took care of business over the weekend. Friday, they beat Milwaukee, score 16-5. Saturday was a close game. It was a very close game. They only won 5-3 on Saturday, and then yesterday they ran Milwaukee out of the building 21-7. Jake Brown, one of my guys, he had a grand slam and another home run and several RBIs. Seth Darter had 2 home runs over the weekend. Cade Beatty had a home run. Zach York had a home run. Derek Curiel had a great game yesterday. Yeah, I mean, the Tigers did what they should have done. They took care of business. They scored 21, 16, and 5, so that's 42. They outscored Milwaukee 42-15 in the 3-game series. LSU had about 49 strikeouts. I didn't like what I saw from Case and Evans on Friday night, but it's so early, and I've learned with LSU baseball and their pitching that Yeski usually gets these guys into a rhythm towards the middle of the season, the back half of the season. Still trying to figure out things. I did like what I saw yesterday. William Schmidt, sorry. I was trying to remember his name. I like what I saw from him yesterday. Some of the fastballs was a little out of control in those spots, but he's got to work on the control. Cooper Moore had an awesome game on Saturday. He had 11 strikeouts. And like I said, Casey Evans was a little rocky in their first game, but I don't have any concerns about him or the Tigers. I think they'll be fine. I want to see who they got coming up next. Let's see what their schedule says. So the Tigers up next have today, Monday. So they play today, 6 p.m. versus Kent State at the box. They got Wednesday against Nichols at the box at 1. And then Friday they're gonna play Indiana, 1 p.m. And that's going to be the Jacksonville College Baseball Classic. And let's see, you got Notre Dame on the 21st, Central Florida on the 22nd, McNeese on the 24th, Dartmouth on the 27th. So, yeah, those are your next few games for the Tigers. The next series is going to be March the 6th, 7th, and 8th against Sacramento State. So, yeah, Jay Johnson and the Tigers off to a great start. Again, I was one of those fans that the last couple seasons would take games like Case and Evans first and be like, I don't know. But look, I remember watching the games last year in the beginning of the year, and Anthony Ianson, if you'd have told me he was going to become what he did later in the season, I would have told you no way. You know, there's this famous post on message boards that I think it's on 3 where this guy made a post that said Anthony Ianson is not a Saturday starter. And I think by the end of the season, he ended up being just as good, if not better, than Cade Anderson. So baseball is a weird game. They're going to lose some games that they shouldn't. Look, Saturday was a tough game against Milwaukee team. And shout out to them. They were scrappy. Man, I mean, I know the final score is not going to show up, but there was a lot of times where LSU was just trying to pull away. And they just wouldn't let them. They would say, okay, we'll give you a couple runs here, but we're going to get 3 or 4 back. You know, and they were a really, really scrappy team. I'd be interested to see how they perform in their conference because they look like a really good team to me. They just aren't LSU. So, yeah, there we go. We got a game today against Kent State. Like I said, we'll be locked in. We'll try to watch it. We still got to be patient with women's basketball. We're not sure what they will be, how they will bounce back. I think their schedule, let's see who they got. They got a few games left, but I want to be for sure. So they play Thursday versus Ole Miss. They've got Sunday, Missouri. They got next Thursday against Tennessee, and then they'll finish on the 1st of March against Mississippi State. So there you go. And then as far as the football team, which is I know a whole big chunk of you guys come here for the football coverage. It's not a lot going on right now. We kind of covered most of everything that's going on in the last episodes. A lot of recruiting getting started on the high school recruiting for next season. Tigers are everywhere. Lane Kiffin is at the baseball games, at the basketball games. He's kind of ingratiating himself. There was a bit of news with safety coach Jake Olson, who got hired by the Washington Commanders. So LSU will need a safety coach. I don't know if that means they give the entire room to Corey Raymond. I don't know if Blake Baker comes. Not sure yet. This was as Friday, basically, where Jake Olson did make it official where he's going to go leave and go to the Washington Commanders. So not a lot going on yet as far as what the next steps there are. But yeah, Tiger fans, thank you so much for joining us on this episode again. And let me throw this in. I forgot to tell you, this is our first sponsored episode. This episode was sponsored by my and my wife's business, Magnificent Delights. Look, we make all natural dog treats for your puppies. We're the 3-time, 3 in a row Best of Baldwin County winner for Pet Store. I'm going to plug our website in the description. It's going to be Wag Delights, WagDelights.com. You can make and decide what kind of treats you want for your puppies, whether it be any meat, fruit, or veggie. We can put it in a bone. We do jerkies. We do our all natural peanut butter. Everything is always made from scratch, all natural, no additives, no preservatives. It's the best treats for your puppy. And guess what? They're very affordable. Most of our treats are about $5. So do yourself a favor and go check out our sponsor from this episode, Magnificent Delights, WagDelights.com. Thank you guys so much. Remember, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. We want to be your number one LSU source for news, updates, and unsolicited comments from your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. I hope you have a magnificent day. Enjoy your President's Day. I am off on today, so I'm trying to kick back and watch some Tiger baseball. I didn't get that episode in on Sunday because I got wrapped up with the new baby. But look, we're going to try to get those 2 episodes a week. I thank you guys for being patient with me. I thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate everything y'all do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button for your boy, especially if you watch the videos and you're not subscribed. Just check and make sure you subscribe. I thought I was subscribed on one of my YouTube channels to this channel, and I wasn't. So just make sure you go over there and hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. Check us out on all our social medias. They're off to the side. Make sure you go and check us out. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Gold Standard Podcast. I am signing off as your host, Doe. Remember, we love purple, but it is all gold, baby. Have a great day. Tell them I said play net.